Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at the Temple of Speed itself. It is Monza. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Alessandro Dalladone and Marco Barbanera, and you're here watching Apex Racing TV.
Hello Austin, hello everybody, welcome to Italy. I'd rather prefer to be at Imola, but we've been there already, so now we are at Monza, completely different track. Temple of Speed, as you were saying. Unfortunately, we are not running the banking, which would have been definitely much interesting than this track. But for sure, the drivers will be delighted to put out a great show tonight.
We need to ask these guys if they want to have a Week 13 race with like everybody who's been here. Just put them on iRacing Super Speedway. Just see that chaotic race happen.
No, this track with the banking definitely is gonna be interesting, but we have to run on these. Oh yeah, for sure. But for sure, these cars on Monza with different downforce, probably also within the field today, is gonna be very spicy. As we have Greg Olson in pole position at the moment, but the drivers are still about to complete their second qualifying lap.
Now, Greg Olson sitting at 134.67, and look at these downforces. So the height of the rear wing is going to be very important today, and this is a prime example of a medium downforce layout. Sam and Greg Olson, though, is surprisingly on a high downforce layout.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these guys will qualify. And how these different setups will then behave in the race. Unfortunately, I did not have my usual race during the week, so
well, I had my race for you then.
How did you go?
Well, it went all right. The start was chaotic, and everyone died except for me in the first chicane. So you know, it was pretty relaxing.
Nice. I don't really like Monza. Oh, nice. Hopefully it doesn't go down again tonight to make it back-to-back broadcast, where our dear Marco Barbanera would eventually jump in.
The wall coming out of Scari.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do it only in qualifying today, as he's still in a rough patch, so hopefully today Paul will be able to get a very good result to bounce back.
I also want to bring on something. Drivers using low downforce will have no control over their DRS. Pretty much low downforce is plank of wood angled up. And so DRS will not be available for those drivers who are using that low downforce setup. I do not believe any of the drivers in this field are using low downforce, so.
It's gonna be difficult. In the corners you are absolutely gonna be very slow compared to the rest of the field, so I highly doubt too that we will see anyone with such a low downforce. Medium downforce is gonna be definitely probably the good compromise, even though people with higher downforce should be able to get a better qualifying lap in.
Yeah, that's what Greg Olson did. He's currently leading by 0.2, and that high downforce, extremely good for qualifying. We're probably going to see that wing angle down. There's no Parker Ferme here in iRacing, so he can definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. As James Pisker is about to finish his qualifying effort.
Also on high downforce. And I got to say, the high downforce is fantastic if you just want a late break. Because that is pretty much adding another 50 yards to your braking zone, or reducing 50 yards from your braking zone compared to the medium downforce aero kit.
Koide.
Yeah,
One of the Japanese.
Soon Koide, up into 8th place. Another one of our new Japanese drivers. Once again, Masafumi Aburame. He's down there in 20th, making another consecutive week for him as qualifying ends out. And let's get ready to rumble here in this beautiful Italian national park, also known as Monza. Let's see how this grid is forming up. Greg Olson takes pole, followed by Robert Tarleton, Ben Fuller, Paul Ilbrink, James Peacer, Edward Samboyski, Jorge Montanes, Soon Coyd, Rob Bohr, Antonio Pavetta, Phil Reed, and Jason Henrique in 12th place. Behind them in 13th, it is Theodore Burns, Ivando Marquez, Luciano Costa, Marcos Alacorn, James Byrne, James Byrne, Mark Ponick, Masafumi Aburame, Adam Kahn, and Thomas Les Dez.
22 grid field, so not extremely big tonight, but we are set for
Formula One.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can also see already lined up at the back where the oval starts, also the fire truck and the ambulance and a spare base truck, just in case we have massive crashes that sometimes here in Monza happen, especially in the first corners. So
yeah, we see
already ready.
lap ones get absolutely crazy here, and even in practice they get crazy here. I can tell you with a DRS failure and brake failure with a certain Alfa Romeo, Marcus Ericsson went for a ride. And I also believe, looking at some of these drivers' helmets, that Edward Samborski is going to have a challenger with his, well, he's usually a happy guy, but I'm pretty sure Marquez, Montez right behind him in 7th place is giving us a little bit too much of information.
Oh yeah, for sure. These drivers are absolutely happy and delighted to be here.
I think Jorge is just a little bit more happy.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get some wind on that tongue.
All right, now Robert Thompson's been having a little bit trouble with his starts. We'll see if he can do this now. 5 red lights are coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go, green, green, green here at the Temple of Speed. It's a good start by Ben Fuller right beside of Robert Talton. They're immediately 3 wide heading down that front straight. Has a lot of drivers going down to the inside already trying to avoid it. Fuller dives it down to the brakes. Ben Fuller from the 2nd row takes the lead. Followed by Tarleton, Olsen, Ilbrink, Pieser, Montez, Samborski, and Coy, Pavetta, and Bohr are top 10. And there's Robert Tarleton off the exit immediately down the inside of Ben Fuller. Tarleton's going to retake the lead.
Great start by Fuller, but I think he has a slowdown, so we'll have to let a lot of cars by. Slowdown are very, very harsh in the opening laps.
I Burns is around. We got a lot of spinners heading in the chicane. I'm not sure if Antino Bonotto is right here, but oh my goodness, that's Dez off. Burns is off as well. And Ben Fuller has had a slowdown. And that is extremely unfortunate for him. Having a great start off the line to falling all the way down to 8th place. As this is Sun Koid trying to swing it around the outside of Montez, and he's up into 6th.
Yeah, great start by the Japanese driver, making up already a few positions. But what a terrible start, lap 1 for Ben Fuller. He had a great start from the line, to be fair. He did a great jump. But unfortunately, then that slowdown in turn 1 killed him, and he's now already all the way back in 8th place.
Yeah, he dived into there and just had the wheels over the line just a little bit too much. Robert Tarleton leads out. Greg Olsen and Paul Ilbrink are top 3. All of them nose-tailing each other. Here comes Ilbrink. It's looking like he has the speed to go down the inside. He is not going to do that right now. And James A. Peace here is leading up. And look at that coin down the inside of Samborski.
A man on a mission, as we have
Henrique
needs to be careful with that. Banana curves are always very dangerous on Formula cars.
Now, they're extremely easy to damage the floor on these cars. If you want to know if a car is damaged with a damaged floor, look at the side pod on some of these cars that they go over them. You'll see the bottom side-by-side contact, and Henrique's around again.
And that was very, very difficult to make happen. We have also contact
as well. Dez and Henrique make contact with Henrique. I don't know if you have your radio on, but I don't. But I can pretty much tell you what he's saying right now.
Oh yeah, that reminds
Marco would need to censor us.
That reminds me a lot of Arca Break. Arca
Break
Weekly also, the great series you can find on YouTube.
I need to go back into the Arca series, but they need to put cautions in there first.
No, it's the best thing not having caution in that series. You can see people dive for their lives turn 1, lap 1 during a pile-up.
Ben Fuller trying to get back up the grid. Ever Samborsi sitting in 5th place after real-life Japanese F4 driver Sun Koid.
Here at the limit, hitting the limit, they're already halfway through the straight.
Oh yeah. Well, you're in the draft. There's not a lot of downforce slowing you down with the draft right behind him. And oh my goodness, I thought we almost saw Rob Bohr about to get annihilated by Marcos Alicorn right behind him as Burns and Burn are all these 3 drivers, usually all with each other. Well, it's the Burn battle between them, but it's now Burns for Burn. And I'm about to have a tongue twister moment as Burns looking down the inside of Burn, as Burns holding it around the outside. Burns trying to hold it down the inside. There's conflict between Burns and Burns. And Burns still outside, and Burns basically ahead of Burns and Burn. Thank you, all 3 of you, for just continuing being here every week, making my job hard.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it because I usually let you say all these great names all together. I couldn't, as these guys are still side by side now, trying to look at the inside, but James Byrne cannot make a move, stick around the Ascari. It's a bit difficult to go side by side, to be fair, Austin. And also in real life, we've seen multiple crashes overall in this circuit.
Yeah, but it's a familiar sight up front. Robert Tarleton in that beautiful Ferrari liveried Renault 3.5 car. Leading out the grid, followed by Greg Olson and Paul Ilbrink, your top 3. We got a side-by-side fight heading down that front straight. Rob Bohr and Marcus Alicorn side-by-side. Alicorn sends it down there. And Rob Bohr is taking the easy way and not really fighting that one as the Masked Devils 3.5 car jumps up into 11th.
Yeah, we have some very good movers early on in the race, like Alarcon, 5 places up. Now we also have the replay of the start. You can see the great start of Ben Fuller.
Now Fuller immediately off the line. No wheel spin at all from what I can see, and he already gets beside Robert Tarleton. Jumps up into 2nd, into 1st already before they even hit the brake zone. Then he goes a little bit deeper, heads onto the brakes, and just back end goes out. Too much mustard, hops over the curb, and that brings him to slow down. That has given Robert Tarleton the lead.
Well, hopefully it's only a slowdown and not damage on his car, because this is very dangerous. There is a big curve in the inside there where you need to be super careful with Formula cars to not hit, otherwise you will have a rough end of your day, as Sunkoid is trying to make a pass on JJ Pinsker. We get told also that Koide is a Japanese F4 driver, so
yes,
definitely plenty of skills.
Koide down the inside of JJ Pinsker. And he's got that move made. Koide's up into 4th. We might see our first Japanese driver onto the podium very soon today.
Yeah, you never know. Monza is always very interesting, and you get some drivers up front that maybe are not used to be driving in the top positions every week, as Kohn makes a move on Ponic with some front end damage at that wing, so he will have a very long day ahead. But we have a pass for 14th place, as a few drivers take the escape route at the 2nd chicane. Ooh, contact.
Ooh. Marquez got absolutely smacked right there.
We need some help between drivers to make it all the way through this chicane side by side. It usually doesn't really go well whenever you try to go side by side through these tight sections of the track, as Paul Ilbrink is looking very fast behind Greg Olson, but they are both losing ever so slightly. to Robert Harton, 4 tenths this time.
Yeah, Greg Olson and Robert Tarleton, both these two always close to each other, but, you know, Paul Ilbrich, he's been very lucky today, and, well, Paul Ilbrich's going to be very happy. Now, he just has to keep his foot down and try to stay behind Greg Olson, or maybe try to make a move, as JJ Pincer is trying to make a move on Soon Coy, but Coy's just staying ahead of JJ right there.
Yeah, he needs to be now also looking behind, because yes, he definitely can try to make a pass on Soon, but at the same time he needs to keep an eye on Ben Fuller, because we know Ben is very, very fast, and he will be definitely not happy about lap 1 unfolded, so he will be trying to get a few positions back and aim it for a podium spot.
Yeah, Ben Fuller, we know he's incredibly fast. If you remember the Long Beach round, he just ran away with that race. And now here comes JJ trying to block Fuller. Fuller going down to the inside. JJ saying into the draft to Soon Coy. The battle for 5th is alive and well. Fuller chops the nose off of JJ as soon as he passes and heading to Parabolica. Ben Fuller up into 5th place.
A great pass. Maybe James also lift a little bit to let him go, not lose him too much time behind Coide. And yeah, I think he might
stay in that draft of Ben Fuller as he chases them down.
Another battle also for 8th place between Montañez and Phil Reed. They need to be careful, because behind Poveda and Larcon are not really far, as Greg Olson uses also all the green stuff on the outside of Parabolica, which in my opinion is one of the worst things ever, because people can just abuse of that with no issues, while earlier if you made a mistake you were straight out into the gravel.
I'm not sure if you saw what was happening behind in that battle for 4th, but Jay's pace here was going back to I don't know if he was reenacting on how you should slow yourself down on the slopes of a snowy mountain, or trying to intimidate a snake. There was a lot of weaving.
But yeah, probably still trying to keep behind. Coide doesn't want to make a pass, and you know how James usually shows his appreciation behind a driver, especially in these long straights.
Yeah, watch James on this straight. I know James likes to be a little bit conservative in the way he races, so once he gets up behind somebody, he doesn't want to unthrottle the pedal, but he will still stay with them. See, he already pulls out of the draft, and to make sure that he doesn't get as close to him, he's going to let these guys race. And the reason why there's a number 1 on his car, he finishes most of the races he starts. And, well, to get the maximum amount of points, he want to finish. And also, his championship rival is right behind him.
Yeah, absolutely, for the championship. It's definitely looking very good for James. We will have a clearer picture next week on the start of the last broadcast race, which it's always the highest SOF of the week, and probably one of the highest SOFs in normal iRacing official championships, apart from
the SOF. What's the SOF right now? 4.5K, like it has been all season.
Indeed, absolutely. As Aburam is trying to go
down the outside.
Yeah, and also moving around to make his gap wider. Oh, yeah, right.
Olsen, I might have had a slowdown penalty. I'm not sure Olsen will actually let anyone by as we stay with these guys. Ooh. Yeah, there's the slowdown.
Alarcon making up another position on Montañez, now up in 10th. Nice group of Spaniards as James Byrne He likes to take a double joker lap on the gravel.
That's a lot of gravel up in the air right now as JV Burn overtakes him for 15th. Theodore Burns, on the other hand, is up into 13th.
Yeah, you should be happy that he pulled out of the two burn, so you don't get confused.
Confused.
Indeed.
I know everyone in the chat was looking forward to more the Burns Burn fight, and you know.
Are they?
Well, Tim Delisle was saying it.
I noticed quite a drop of viewers after you did that.
Nah, we're fine.
As Poveda is trying to lead this group towards Reed in 8th place. 1.7 is the gap, but here we have now a nice train.
Oh yeah, I remember how you were saying Ben Fuller could drag that train behind him up to these guys, and yeah, we now have a 5-car train for 2nd place.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna be wide. Hopefully not as wide as
Fuller might be looking to go.
Yeah.
Fuller might be looking for a move heading into Parabolica. He is on Olsen right now.
Yeah, Paul is having a very good pace, but unfortunately today we have Robert Dalton, who didn't get pole position in qualifying, but is a class of his own. Almost 3 seconds.
Remember, Ilbrink, he did crash in qualifying, heading into Ascari, so he needs to, I think he might be a little bit hesitant through there, but that also just might be his qualifying setup pace, as Edward Samborski puts in the fastest lap of the race, as he is just staying in that draft. Fuller dives it down the inside of Olsen, side by side, heading around the outside of the chicane. And they stay in the same spot, but Fuller, he is being aggressive right now.
Oh yeah, I told you that he was gonna try to make moves happen very fast.
Here comes Fuller again. He's looking down the inside. It's more of a fake dummy, and also goes over the curbs. And Olsen's going to drop down right beside to James J. Piecier, and he's going to fall all the way down into 5th place. And, oh man, Fuller sold that dummy well.
Yeah, he showed the nose, and Greg Olson fell for it and made a huge mistake. Now he's almost slowing Pinsker and Samborski down, actually.
Yeah, he just stayed with him heading into the apex, and it was either Olsen going to try to stay on that outside line or just go over the curb, and I think Olsen just didn't want to risk any collision in front of this train and went over the curb right there.
Yeah, Samborski set actually the fastest lap of the race last time by, 135.75.
This is great. Just look at this sight. 6-car train right now. Battle for 2nd. Samborski is just staying back there behind James J. Piecier, and Piecier staying out of the draft. Everybody else not wanting to really be that guy who just runs at the back. But look at this 3-way fight between Masafumi Aburame, 2 wide, Rob Bohr, Theodore Burns down the inside, Bohr on the outside. Masafume is looking down the inside as they continue their nose-tail efforts. I almost said Robert Thompson. That's Paul Ilbrink and Ben Fuller. Fuller down the inside of Ilbrink, but now Ilbrink looking down to the inside into Lesmo 1, but it's not going to go as he's getting a little bit loose, and he gets tapped by Coyd.
Oh boy.
Ilbrink into the wall, and the unlucky streak continues for Paul Ilbrink.
I was really hoping this would not happen today, but he did it as he did. A mistake, I think, here for Paul.
Yeah, Paul got onto the curb, locked up just a little bit, off balance, and here comes Ben Fuller. This is a lap earlier.
Yeah, there is still a gap, but then
Yeah, here's what happened. Ilbrink, he gets a little bit of a wiggle right here. He's already off, and Coin had nowhere to go. Just a light tap, and Ilbrink off into the wall. That's suspension damage for Paul Ilbrink, I can say. I see a little bit of cry, but he is staying right there as Coin's under pressure from Greg Olsen. Olsen in the draft of Fuller up ahead. Side by side, they're going to go heading into turn 1. Coin's got the car link. Coin's going to stay in third. Oh, the curves, that's a slowdown for Coin. Here goes Olsen back into third place.
Definitely very good move under braking by Sunkoid, but that's a slowdown.
Samborski.
He's gonna now send him back to 5th place probably. Samborski making up a lot of places for the championship. It's very, very important. Penske made a mistake in this corner last lap and lost a bit of time. He's now in 6th behind the Japanese driver. Samborski having a chance to change a bit the sort of his race, but Tartan here is our leader, 5 seconds with a bit more than 10 laps to go, Austin, so definitely looking very, very comfortable for him.
Yeah, Ferrari S performance, I must say. 2004 Ferrari S performance.
Yes, I was right about to tell that this is definitely not a realistic performance for a Ferrari engine car or livery car in the early 20s.
Correct.
We might see him blow the engine if he was on 2020 specs.
Can't go into that mode right now because they haven't took a lap. Now I can't joke about 2020 cars.
So still battle here for 8th place. We put Alacone and Montañez. They got caught by this group. And now Poda is making a pass. They're still side by side. Poda has the inside. No, Phil Reed.
That's Phil Reed. But Phil Reed overcooks and he goes across the track, and that's a slowdown for Phil Reed. And Pavetta's going to get his spot back.
A lot of people getting caught in this turn 1. Moving to the inside to defend.
It's a lower downforce application, so you're going to have a tighter turn, especially if you have that inside line, and with the lower downforce you're going to have to adjust that and not be as used to you are not be in that high downforce state of mind, because that high downforce adds so much just gives you so much room to go into the brakes just a little bit later. It's incredibly insane, so that's why we saw drivers on high downforce use it in qualifying and then switch over to that medium downforce.
Absolutely. I think Paul Ilbrink is doing fine. His lap times are definitely very, very good. He should be sitting still in 7th and hopefully will be able to catch up to JJ Pinsker if the drivers in front will start to battle it out again. So at least in 7th place is not day over. We will see next season with the new damage model though how it's gonna pan out, it like that. Maybe, yes. It's gonna be interesting to see. You never know with the damage model, sometimes it gets released and then you revert back mid-season. Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, Theodore Burns and Rob Bordeaux tail with each other heading out of turn 1 chicane. And Bordeaux is staying in that draft. I don't believe he's going to look down. Oh, no, as soon as I said that, he looks down the inside, but I'm not believing he's going to be going for a move right there.
Someone just made a move. Is Montañez on Reed for 10th place.
Oh, here comes Coyd on Samborski. Coyd is not looking to make a move heading into Ascari. And James J. Painter is on the back of Coyd right now. Coyd really wants to be back and forth and challenging for that podium. Very unfortunate incident with that slowdown. Samborski defending down low. Coyd going on the outside. Samborski comes across the track to hold him off. Samborski and Coyd staying in the same spots.
Yeah, great battle. Pinsker definitely Looking forward to see this guy battle it out even harder to maybe get 2 in 1.
Ben Fuller, new fast lap. Here comes Coyd around the outside. And, oh, James is being James. Coyd switches back to the inside line. Samborski forced to go high. Coyd jumps over one of the inside curbs. Upsets car just a little bit, but Coyd up into 4th, followed by Samborski and Peens here in this 3-car fight, as now Greg Olson is the next on Soon Coyd's list.
A really great race by Soon Coyd. You can clearly see his real-life skill set being applied also on the sim. It's not very easy to see newcomers or drivers that have not really been in many races.
Well, he tries for Dome Racing in the 97 car, so up in the Japanese F4 series. Gets off a little bit onto the AstroTurf on the outside of Lesmo too. But I gotta say, if anyone from Dome Racing is watching this, probably going to be very happy for Coyd right now, as he is showing his skill set very good today. Up 4 spots as Ben Fuller is off in the wall into the Ascari. Fuller is off after a wonderful comeback up into the podium spots. He is off in Ascari, hard into the wall.
That looks like a deadly curb. Oh no.
It's just got the inside curve, just hooked it just a little bit with his front right wheel, and that just upset the rear end, dropped it down just a little bit, and brought it out, and that's going to be a retirement for Ben Fuller.
Day over for Ben Fuller. Oh boy.
And now Coyd under attack by Samborski.
So now these guys now are fighting for 3rd place.
Yes, this is the fight for 3rd. There's a contact between Samborski and Coyd. Coyd just gave Samborski the squeeze right there. Too much of a little bit squeeze. But Coyd now looking to be the first Japanese driver on our Apex Racing TV Formula 3.5 Championship broadcast to get onto the podium. And Samborski looking for a spot. Big set and Coyd is around. Samborski hits Coyd and Coyd is around.
Late braking for Samborski.
Oh, that was a crazy late break. Just see the speed difference by Samborski. No place for him. Gets into the gearbox and Coyd goes around.
Great to see it. It would be a historic night for the Japanese community in the F3 broadcast race, but it was not meant to be.
And now James Peens here. He's got a familiar face behind him. Paul Ilberg is still back there.
I told you he was not out. He got very lucky with the contact with the wall when he smacked the wall earlier.
You know, Peens probably saw that incident with Coyd and just smiled to himself. Probably just thought, karma.
Let's see if he will be able to get a podium out of this race. I would be really happy for Paul if he can actually get something out of this race after that mistake.
Well, here comes Ilberg on the outside. He's got the track to Samborski ahead of him. Paul Ilberg's got a car link on Peens here. Peens is just going to let Ilberg ahead. Ilberg up into 4th. And now, if Ilberg gets a podium out of this, I do not know how his reaction will be. That will probably be the unluckiest race he's ever had. If he gets a podium out of this.
Already finishing 6th or 7th would have been a very good result for the standards he was used to in the last few races, unfortunately. But a podium will be definitely very good, looking very comfortable for the final race of the season next week. But here Coyd defending now from Povedal, Arcon, the 2 Spaniards who have been running together for the whole race. He definitely has more speed, but it's gonna be tough for him to
break that draft.
Open the gap, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have the use of DRS available to him. They are within that 8 laps to the end, so if he hasn't been using that throughout the day, he has those DRS uses in the bag. Mind all drivers have 8 uses total of DRS to them. They can activate it whenever they want and however fast they want. So if they want to, they can have 8. They can use all their DRS uses on 1 lap, being the last lap, which I believe Tim Bilal has done before.
Alarcon trying to get a very good exit. Decides not to get slipstream from Poveda. Probably is hoping that these two guys in front will fight it out and then get some nice freebies.
Have a collision, hop over the curb just a little bit as all of them hop over that curb on the inside. I'm guessing that's how you go faster. I don't know. My lap times are about 2 seconds off these guys.
But if you are like me and Austin, you would like to try the car, remember that we have setups at the Apex Racing Academy with any kind of series you might want to run in the racing official races with track guides, weekly coaching sessions, one-on-one coaching sessions too, but mostly it's integrated with DRS, which also there you can find a lot of setups for your daily races with data analysis software, all integrated with also our academy. And also to list but not last, SDK Gaming, to add your virtual live HUD for your streaming, broadcasting, your leagues, with nice timing towers, and also this beautiful Formula 3.5 overlay, which is one of the best you can see. Absolutely amazing.
It certainly was amazing as Ilbrink got past Pinsker, staying behind Samborski as Antonio Pavetta had a big off track right there. Just looking at our timing tower as things seem to be simmering down just a little bit. Ilbrink falling back just a little bit from Samborski, but he's staying with that track as that is
slow
the
car
20 of Thomas Ledez.
Crawling in the straight to let everyone by correctly, not interfering with these drivers.
Pavetta on Coyd. He's been staying in that trap. Pavetta's looking on the outside of Coyd. Side by side, heading into the secondary chicane. Coyd stays ahead.
And we'll have to defend very hard on these guys. The trap is very, very, very important in this track, and unfortunately for drivers like Coyd, who actually have a little more pace compared to the two Spaniards behind, it's gonna be very difficult to open a gap. As you can see also the gaps between P1 and P2, and looks like Tartan today is absolutely on another level. 8/10 out of Olson's pace.
New fastest lap as well. Well, that's another reason why he is going so fast. I can tell you the Tifosi are standing up in the stands right now and cheering on this car as James Pinsker takes that fastest lap away from a 1:35.631.
You have to be really, really willing to cheer if you come to Monza, because after the race it takes at least 4 or 5 hours to go out of the track, since the traffic management out of the track is very, very dreadful.
I can certainly say the code of the track management is better as Coyd almost gets turned by Pavetta as they almost had contact going through that bend. Here comes Pavetta. Pavetta's got a better exit. Pavetta's looking down to the inside. Coyd's defending on the inside, and now Pavetta's trying to look onto the outside as they head into Lesmo 1.
Looking very, very aggressive. He does not want to let Poveda by. Needs to be also careful, because there are drivers that have been using a lot of runoff areas, and you know that 1x every lap can lead to have a lot of incident points towards the end, and you don't want to get to that 17x limit and get a drive-through. Especially when you're pushing very hard, it's very easy to get an off track. Robert Tartan with the new fastest lap of the race, 35.4 now, so even faster. Another 4/10 out of Olson.
Let's see if James does not put in the new fastest lap now. Paul Ilbrink got Samborski though. Paul Ilbrink's up into third. Paul Ilbrink is up into third. I think Coit is driving in his mirrors too much. He's been very defensive on Pavetta, but Pavetta has always been there. But now here's Edward Samborski on Paul Ilbrink. I think Samborski might be playing a little bit of mind game right now.
Italian so beat.
Side by side as here's Montanes around the outside of Reed.
Yeah, Coit driving a lot on the mirrors could be sign of that he could be actually a very good super speedway driver.
Oh yeah, if Coit ever came to America and wanted to drive some IndyCar, he'd be great at it. But somebody who is great at pretty much everything we've seen him do, taking Parabolica for one last time. Well, nope, 2 more times to go. White flag is in the air as I have a little brain fart for Robert Tarleton.
A test good drive. Behind him a lap car Maciej Ponik, who elected not to come in after getting some damage in the opening part of the race, and he's just cruising around.
And here comes Samborski. Is Samborski going to try to take the thunder away from Paul Ilbrink? Say stack up in the braking zone. It's not going to be the case right there as James Peasker is right behind his championship rival. Nose tail with each other. Is James going to try to make a move on his championship rival in that final lap? Side by side is Phil Reed on the outside. Montez down the inside. Reed's going to chop the nose. He's going to take 9th place back. And here comes Samborski on the... Oh, Samborski's all around the outside of Peasker, and oh man, they stack up hard. And that's going to allow Paul Ilbrink to escape from these 2 championship rivals battling for the top of the championship lead. Side by side is Alarcon and Pavetta. Pavetta stuck on to the outside, Alarcon down the inside. Pavetta's going to sweep around. They both around. And there's a roadblock, and there's a major stack up of cars. And that's Montez into the wall. Burns is up there into 7th, followed by Boer, Reed, Alarcon, Montez, and
some more contact.
Phil Reed is off the track once more.
Rob Boer pushing Reed out of the track. And here we are back with our leader.
Yeah, one last time around Parabolica, taking the checker flag. The Ferrari's flags are flying high as Robert Dalton takes the win.
2nd place for Greg Olson, coming right behind my Japonic, but look at who is coming in 3rd, boy. Great recovery drive.
Ilbrink broke the curse. The unlucky curse of Paul Ilbrink has been broken today. He's back on the podium after, man, that was an insane race by Paul. Great start. Had an unfortunate incident and then brought it back to get back onto the podium.
Great racing overall, I must say.
Chaotic last lap.
Yeah, as you expect from this Slipstream festival every time. Last lap, everyone trying to make up a few extra places, but overall, especially in the opening 10 laps, where usually L breaks loose, everyone behaved. We have inevitably some contacts, but just 3 cars actually did not make it to the end.
Yeah. But here are your full results. Robert Tarleton takes the win ahead of Greg Olson. Paul Ilbrink, luckiest man. Well, he broke the unlucky streak here today. We thought he wouldn't be coming back out there. I almost called it too early that he wouldn't be seeing it, but he brought it back onto the podium, followed by Samborski. James Pinksier, Sun Coy with a great debut in 6th place. Theodore Burns, Phil Reed, Rob Boer, Marcos Alarcon, Masafumi Aburame, Jorge Montanes, Antonio Pavetta, James Byrne, Jamie Bird, Adam Kahn, Luciano Costa, Eduardo Marquez, Mark Ponick, and Tomas Ledez in 20th place, followed by Ben Fuller and Jason Henrique.
So we are waiting for a few drivers to come and join us as per usual in the booth for the post-race interviews, but we have already our race winner, so let's have a quick talk with Robert Arton with the Ferrari livery. Robert, I think today you got some extra horsepower, and it definitely showed because you've been super fast in the race.
Yeah, the Ferrari definitely felt like it had a couple extra horsepower this race. Yeah, it was a really tough start. I was not expecting Ben to have such a good run off the line, but I was also finding that I did like a practice race earlier today, and the start finish line is actually like really slippery, and so when I do the normal launch that I do, I'd spin up the wheels across the line, and so I had to dial it back a bit. But it's definitely good to see that somebody else is launching on the clutch, so it's going to definitely put the pressure on the starts even more.
Yeah, absolutely. The start was very interesting. Unfortunately for Ben, then got his race a bit more complicated. But on your side, after the start, you got the chance to pull away pretty much immediately, and you have been running at a blistering pace all race long.
Yeah, I was actually really worried about this race because the draft is so strong here that I figured that whoever got in the front, there was just going to be somebody, right behind them the whole race, and so it was definitely relieving to see. I think Ben might have gotten a slowdown penalty or whatever and fell back a couple places, but that helped bring up a little bit of a gap, and I was able to use the DRS to try to build up a gap large enough to break the toe, and then after that it was just just getting into the groove, and fortunately it was a pretty smooth race for me.
Absolutely, and next week we are going to Interlagos for the season finale. Definitely another track where the slipstream is gonna come into place with a big front stretch. What are your thoughts about that track?
Honestly, I'm a little worried. I haven't raced on Brazil with these cars in like many years, so I'm gonna have to kind of figure out that track and see how that goes. I think it's probably going to take a little bit of practicing, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. Pretty excited. Always good to try out new tracks.
Absolutely. Anyone you would like to thank, Robert?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for the great broadcast. I'd like to thank Ferrari for giving me such a great car today. And then, of course, I'd like to thank my girlfriend, Heidi. She's definitely been pushing me. She doesn't like it when I lose, so big thanks to her, and this one's for her.
Well, thank you very much, Robert, for joining us today. I hope to see you back on the podium next week in Brazil.
Great, thanks, guys.
Well, after our race winner, Robert Arton, it's time to have a chat with our second place finisher, Greg Olson. Austin is right with you.
Greg, from going on top of the leader, from a pole position all the way down to 7th place and then back up there into 2nd, how was that race?
Oh, it was a crazy race, tell you what. Yeah, I wasn't as confident in my race pace, so I was expecting a big fight. In fact, I was expecting, let's be honest, Robert was going to get us at the start anyway with his incredible race starts, so I was hoping I'd be able to keep up with him. Unfortunately, I wasn't. I tried a bit too hard to keep up with him. I tried braking a bit later at turn 1, and I cut the track, and that was kind of it. I knew I was going to be in for a hell of a fight from that point.
Yeah, you had a hell of a fight all around the track today, but you managed to get yourself still up into 2nd place, and hey, it's a podium spot to get to spray the champagne.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, my goal today I was surprised. Not surprised, but I was really happy to get pole position, but the main goal today was just top 5, get some good points. Everyone else, like James and Ed, are both on 8 weeks counted, and I'm only on 6, well 7, but I'd technically call it 6. And so I'm just really keen to get the race finishes and get the points. Because if I do that, then I've got an outside chance, but it's a chance nonetheless that maybe I can take the championship. So yeah, the result today was really good for my championship.
All right, that's always good to hear. We'll see you next week at Interlagos. But before we go, anyone you want to thank?
Yep, just like to thank Positive Sim Racing. I just used last season's setup that Tim had developed with Ricardo, and it barely took any practice at all. It was such a really well balanced setup, so it was a pleasure to drive, and it worked really well today. So yeah, thanks to Tim and our old teammate Ricardo and all the other guys in the team as well. And as always, you guys for the broadcast. And I'll just add to what I think Ed said the other day is all the people that donated. Thank you so much. I think we hit the target last week, so huge thanks to Ed for taking over from me, from organising the broadcasts, and a massive thanks to everyone that donated to get the broadcast up for next season as well.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Greg. You have yourself a good night. As we go over to Alessandro, who is standing by with somebody who has definitely got some luck charm now after, well, he's got the monkey off his back, so to say, and that'll be Paul Ilbrink.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy to have Paul back here in the booth. Finally, and third place finish. You got us a big scare when you brushed the wall there earlier on in the race. I'm so happy you made it through that and got the podium.
Yeah, I still have a little concussion, I think, after that. But yeah, I don't know. The race started well, and I was like just sitting, really cruising behind Greg at the beginning, and I thought like, finally, this is going to be my race. I'm going to be like at the front again. Nice. It was all satisfied. And then Greg made a mistake in turn 1, I think. So I got like the P2. So all of a sudden I had to like switch up a gear, setting the pace myself again instead of just cruising behind in the draft. That went fine, and then Ben came through again on this pace, and I thought, well, he was like seemed like really quick, so I didn't feel like fighting too hard. I was just like trying to let him pass and then maybe sit in his draft and perhaps drive to the front to Robert. But all of a sudden I got a little tap from behind, and I thought, well, here we go again. And I hit the wall, but somehow the car survived, and I managed to catch the little train in front of me. And yeah, some nice overtakes, and then ended up in P3, so pretty happy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I bet you are still thankful that iRacing did not deploy the new damage model on this car, otherwise that would have been probably the end of your race. Next week we go to Interlagos. How do you think the race is gonna plan out for you there?
It's a very good track. I really enjoy it, but I have to see if this was just a fluke or if my luck actually changed. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes then.
Oh, we certainly hope that is not a only week where you get a very good race, and hopefully you can keep the momentum up till the start of the new season, where you maybe can have a bit more luck and contend for the championship.
See, like, it's been fun driving anyway, but yeah, it's not as fun as almost every week something happens. So I'm glad that's like not, well, it's kind of happened today, but still got a good result. So hopefully a little bit less of this bad luck in the future. So yeah.
Absolutely. Anyone you would like to thank, Paul, before we let you go?
Sure. All my teammates at Radicals Online and our partners and sponsors: Cranfield Simulation, Armor Centrum, Track Racer, Joe Real Timing, Turn Racing, MLATF Podcast, 6 Sideways, and Pixel Dust.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course.
Well, thank you very much also to you, Paul, for giving us a great show also tonight. I think, Austin, we can say goodbye to our viewers and give them a date to watch for next week, because it's the championship decider.
Yeah, championship decider at Interlagos, the place where it always turns out great. And you know, this just brings me back to early 2000s Formula 1, And I gotta say, I hope everybody is excited for that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here for the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Monza. One more week is left. Who's it gonna be? Sam Borski or Pisker or maybe Greg Olson standing on top of the championship ladder? We'll find out next week at Interlagos. I've been joined by Alessandro Dalladane, Marco Barbanera in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.